Hey, hey, welcome to the Summit Host Hangout podcast, where you'll learn how to host a high converting virtual summit that leads to your biggest signature offer launch yet. I'm your host, Krista from Summit in a Box, and we are currently in, well, it's not really a series. I'm recording it as a series of giving you different behind the scenes looks at the Membership Momentum event we hosted back in June, but they're not dropping out as a series. So I guess it's not technically one, but I'm really excited for today's episode because I am going to kind of break down how I landed a sponsorship for Membership Momentum without packages or pitching or anything like that. I had made the decision that I just wasn't going to pursue sponsorships. I didn't feel like it was worth my time. I didn't want to mess with it. I didn't want the extra work. I was just like, nah, we have our monetization strategies in place. We're going to make a good amount of money from the All Access Pass. I'm going to make a good amount of money from launching some offers, and I don't need anything extra to do or to distract from that. So I'd kind of written it off. And you probably saw, if you were around back then, that we did partner with Mike Morrison from Membership Geeks for the event. That was not a sponsorship. He didn't pay me. I didn't pay him. That was a very mutually beneficial partnership because I was hosting a summit about memberships, but I don't even have one. I needed to have someone in my corner to answer the questions I couldn't, to take a look over things, to make Q&As awesome. And, in return, he was featured as like the go-to membership expert. I involved his program in a lot of different ways, but it wasn't a sponsorship relationship. We had a different sponsor for the event. But again, I did not plan on having it. So I kind of want to break down how that happened. Most important thing is I didn't actually do anything. I'm not going to give you in this episode, here are 3 steps for how to land a sponsorship without packages or pitching. No, that's not what this is. There is strategy behind why it happened. There are reasons, but it's not like 1, 2, 3, here's what I did. So I'll start kind of with a story of how it happened and then explain why I think it happened that way and some key takeaways from it. So the story of how it happened is we were already promoting Membership Momentum. It was open for registration and everything. And I got an email from a company showing interest in the sponsorship. And initially I wasn't even going to answer it. I just didn't want to waste their time. I was like, I don't want to, I can't get on a call. I don't have time to deal with this, but I really hate not answering people. It just doesn't feel good. So I did. I eventually did answer, but I just said I don't have time for a call. I would love to talk more about this. I don't have time for a call. If you want to send me a message on Voxer, we can talk about it there. And this person said, they didn't have Voxer. And I was like, all right, that's that. So I did just leave that email there. I wasn't going to book a call. I didn't want to go back and forth via email because I hate my inbox. And I usually don't just leave someone hanging like that, but I was busy. It was crunch time with Summit stuff. And I don't have brain space to try to figure something out. So I didn't even answer that email. That's how committed I was to just not bothering with sponsorships. But then a few days later, they reached out on Instagram. They're like, hey, we really want to talk about this. And I honestly gave them a little pushback to make sure it was actually going to benefit them. I said, here's who our audience is. Here's, what we're seeing so far. Do you think this is who you want to get in front of? Because I didn't want to even bother with making a package or making a pitch or anything if they weren't fully bought in. And they were. They really wanted to be a part of the event through some things I will break down momentarily here. And so because of that, I went, it was 2 back and forths, I think, in voice messages on Instagram. I threw together the simplest, but also highest value package I could think of and just presented it in a 2-minute voice message. Here's the 3-4 things that I think would be easy for me to do and get you the biggest return. Here's the price. What do you think? And they said yes. So we were off to the races. I don't feel comfortable just disclosing exactly what that was, what the price point is, anything like that. I don't want to make the company uncomfortable or anything, but it was an offer that was fairly quick and easy. It felt good to me. Should I charged a little more? Probably, but it felt good to me at the time. That was most important. I wanted it to be easy and I wanted it to feel good to both of us. And that's what it took. So it didn't take me making this big sponsor pitch deck. It did not take me spending hours agonizing over the perfect packages. I did not have to go make a list of companies to pitch or pitch them and do hours of follow-up or get on uncomfortable calls. They reached out to me and I tried to say no, and we still ended up with a sponsorship deal, which was really great. So why do I think it happened that way? Let's kind of break that down. I think there were, I would say 4 key pieces. So first, the event was positioned incredibly well. I will, even though I am the summit person, I will not do the summit positioning step by myself. I will pull in a positioning expert. So we have one on our team, luckily, Ellie. She is our coach in the accelerator program. So she was involved in this. I also pulled in my go-to for copywriting, Nadine from Can Do Content, and we did a full audience survey. She broke down the results of that survey, gave her suggestions based on that. And the three of us kind of together came up with what was going to be the positioning for this event. So it was positioned incredibly well. There was a lot of thought and intention and research, time, money, all of those things that went into the positioning. But it was one where if someone with the correct or like with the same audience were to look at it, I can see how it would be appealing. So I think the positioning was a very big part of it. So if you're looking like, hey, I want to make this happen for me, don't skimp on the positioning. It's something we help our clients with every single day. It's a really important part of the process. I think the second part of why it happened is because it also looked professional. So it was presented in a professional way as far as positioning goes. It also looked professional. The copy, the design, everything about how it was presented, you could tell we knew what we were doing. We had a great speaker lineup. You could tell it was set up to succeed from the outside. And this isn't me trying to like toot my own horn. I was not the only one involved in making this an awesome event, but I can confidently say it was positioned well and looked well done. I think another reason it happened was that we had a solid connection. So Mike from Membership Geeks was our connection point. He knew Mike and reached out to Mike. And I also knew Mike. So when they reached out to me, I also reached out to him and was like, hey, is this a company I should actually be highlighting in this event? So he recommended me to them and them to me. And that was definitely, it probably wouldn't have happened without that connection point. And then I think the third reason it happened was all of those reasons are why they reached out to me. And then the reason I think the deal happened was that I spoke incredibly confidently about the event. We didn't need a call because I knew my people. I knew the purpose of the event. I knew it was set up to succeed. I had no doubts. There was no self-doubt. There was no questioning in the messages I was sending them. Like I was really confident in what we had created and I know they could feel that. So I didn't create more questions for them by going in with like this self-doubt and feeling like, oh no, like, are they really going to want to give me money for this? Like, no, this is a wonderful event. And of course you want to be featured in it, So I think those are why it happened that way. So like my key takeaways from this are that positioning and presentation are important. I already knew that, right? You've heard me talk about it before if you've been around a while, but that was just a good takeaway from this. My second takeaway is that sponsorships can feel good and be easy. I kind of already knew part of that. So like our accelerator clients get access to my aligned sponsorship strategy, which is all about this. Sponsorships that feel good. Sponsorships where you're not making these like gross feeling cold pitches. But like this even took it up a level, right? Like this felt good and it was easy. Number 3 was that you just need to own the awesome things you've created. If you are following a proven process for hosting your summit, you know it's done well, you know it's set up to work, you've made it look good, you've invested the time and attention, you need to make an incredible event, own it. Don't doubt it. Don't doubt it just because like maybe it's your first time. If you're following a proven process that works, feel confident in that process and own it when you're talking to other people about it. And then third is like, I would encourage you to work with us in the accelerator to make it happen. Like, is that a takeaway for me? It's kind of interesting because like, could I have done that without the strategies we teach in the accelerator? I couldn't. And so many times I see people start promoting these events and I'm like, oh, honey, that's probably not going to work. Like, I really wish you were working with us so I could have told you that from the beginning and fixed the positioning, given you suggestions on the design, made this just a much more elevated experience. And I hate it when that happens. I take no pleasure in that. So if this is something you want to create for yourself, I would really encourage you to work with us in the accelerator to make it possible. If you're ready to host a high-converting virtual summit to replace your slow growth marketing strategies and use it to lead into your biggest course launch yet, I've got an exclusive training just for you. This training is for those who are interested in working with me in our Launch with the Summit Accelerator to host a summit that blows industry standards out of the water, uses feel-good engagement-based strategies to create an amazing experience for everyone involved, seamlessly leads into your biggest course launch yet, and sets you up for additional post-summit profits on the back end. Inside the Accelerator, we help our clients consistently host life and business-changing virtual summits, and in the free private training, I'll show you exactly how it works along with all kinds of examples. So apply for an invite to the Launch with the Summit Accelerator and the training at summithosthangout.com/apply. So I hope this was a fun listen. Again, I know it wasn't like a do this, then this, and this, but I hope it was encouraging to hear that it's possible and gave you some direction to hear what I think the high level strategy was that got us to that place. So thank you so much for tuning in. For show notes, head to the link in the episode description wherever you're listening. Now go out and take action to plan, strategize, and launch your high converting virtual summit.